Hey, everybody out there, how you guys doing? Can you guys hear us? Can you guys give us a sound, yay or nay, out in the chat?
Yep. So, Seepin, so sorry to disappoint you. This is not the Jesse you signed up for, but just as good. Can everybody hear us
I
and
hope they
see us?
can. Yay, we got a yay. So we're sounding good. We're
All
looking
right.
good. Good morning to you guys out there, wherever you guys may be, TOTers. If you find yourself in the morning, then good morning. If you find yourself in the afternoon, then good afternoon. And if it's anything else, then happy where everything else is. I'm Alex, and there's Jesse.
I'm Jesse.
We're here to bring you guys a wonderful podcast today. We've got a lot planned today. We're going to talk about Ubuntu saving the day. We're going to talk about an LTT update. We're going to talk about an OS spotlight, and we're going to talk about a wonderful tool.
A couple wonderful tools.
C-Pin says this is a surprising turn of events. He loves it. That's awesome. I love our TLTers. I really do.
Oh, yeah. Our community is why we do this.
Exactly.
They're the best part of what we do.
Exactly. It's awesome. It's awesome. So how's your week been, Jess?
It's been a busy week. I haven't gotten much done on the production front, and we even ran into some issues with Linux and production this morning right before the podcast.
I know, but we seem to do that every morning. And that, you know what? It wouldn't be a Linux world if we didn't have Linuxy things happening, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, my week has been pretty busy too, and I've been dealing with a lot of Linux stuff and doing, and preparing for the show throughout the week, as well as, at work, dealing with stuff because we have CADs going on tables, plasma burning tables and stuff, and they use FreeCAD to program their stuff, and they had
So you get to do Linux stuff at work then with FreeCAD
on occasion. Well, it was really funny because it's the first time my boss called me in on it. We were talking about it because apparently he was having an issue with the other CAD program that was I don't remember what it was called. It was not Linux though, and he had an issue on his computer doing that. And I said, well, you could load up this boot drive right here, this thumb drive, and rescue it using AutoCAD. And he's like, what? So FreeCAD. So I wound up throwing the thumb drive in, and I wound up downloading into being persistent, right? I downloaded the FreeCAD. So that's what he's been using. So Linux rescued the day at a
professional setting too.
Beyond a professional setting, but we have $4 million plasma burning tables back there that all run off this, and he was running them all off of that.
So you could CNC machine me decorative stuff for my motorcycle?
Well, yes, out of steel. It cuts it completely out of steel. Yeah, you have to paint it and do whatever it is you want because it'll be raw little plate steel. But yeah,
right. What? Just cover it in shipping grease and send it off?
Why not? Then you could degrease it and then paint it and all good stuff.
Oh man, sounds like fun. It actually sounds like what most of my weekend is going to be after our show today. As you know, I'm just going to be up to my elbows in gear oil and engine grease and
working on that bike. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to have a classic car. I got rid of it. I don't miss those days as much anymore.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about if the viewers thought it would be interesting. I've given some thought to putting together a Raspberry Pi centered dashboard for my delivery bike. If I can make that work, I think it would be a lot of fun.
What? Describe what you mean.
Like some sort of touchscreen interface, kind of up on the handlebars in lieu of just say my phone or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So it'd be like a little touchscreen Raspberry Pi with the no CD on it.
Like a car computer, but in motorcycle form.
Yeah. Well, I know that they're who is it? Is it Dodge? I think it's Dodge. One of them actually has that as part of their master control unit, their MCU. Underneath the dash, you can it's right where you put your diagnostic tool. where you plug in your interface for your diagnostic
Oh
tool for
yeah,
your code reader.
the thing
Yeah,
that
it's right
reads the
behind
card.
that. Up underneath there, you can see a little touch screen up there. So the technician can do all kinds of stuff. Put it in like learning mode or whatever.
Oh, how cool is that? Yeah,
Yeah, but that's I think on the newer ones. But
gotcha.
anyhow, so let's go ahead and
Yeah.
talk about the
So
first
Linux
topic.
saves the day. Well,
Yeah.
Ubuntu specifically saved the day. In
Ironically,
in
I didn't even think about the Linux saving the day at my job. That's
yeah,
funny as hell.
hey, it's a good segue for us.
Yeah. So go ahead, tell us your story about Linux saving the day. That's your topic.
Sure thing. We don't have any echo from Alex, do we? Feeding back into my mic.
I don't hear it.
Okay. So at my church, I'm the IT director, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the tasks that I have had placed on me is modernizing the whole church in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
When I got there, we have a band, and there was a guy running the mixer, but every week it was, there were different things like that. CPIN says no, so I
Yep.
guess we got no echo from you, Alex. That's good. Um, so yeah, we had a soundboard, we had the band, and we had a TV up on the sort of stage area where the lectern is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were new and didn't know the words or whatever, then you would look up there and be guided through either the message or the singing or what have you.
Right.
So one of the things that we did, my partner and I, and mostly her for this part, rewired the entire sound system.
Oh
Like
wow.
everything got put down with gaffer tape. The mic stands are color coded to their channels on the mixing board and
Mm-hmm.
all that. We upgraded the PC that was running the TV.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are being asked to start doing streaming, which means we needed a more powerful computer than what we had.
Mm-hmm.
So the PC that I put together with this in mind is being taken off of displaying words duty and being moved to a production machine. It's basically spec similar to the box that I'm uh, joining the show from.
Right.
Got a It's got a 10th gen i5, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got a GTX 1060,
Holy crap.
no, 1650 mobile,
Mm-hmm.
and like more than capable of a 1080p stream, which is all I'm aiming for. So
Wow.
um, that made me start searching for a donated computer to handle,
The word
just the
thing.
slides.
Yeah.
And so our pastor gave me this. I'll show it to the class here. For those of you playing at home, this is a Dell Latitude 6410, I believe. Let me see it on the back. Something to that effect. Let me open it up. Maybe it's on the inside. I believe it's on the inside.
I'll say
Latitude
look on the bezel.
E6410. Huh?
I was gonna say look around the bezel, you'll find it.
That's on the inner bezel. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Latitude E6410. This thing had a spinning platter hard drive when I got it,
Ooh.
4 gigs of RAM,
Eh.
and a first gen mobile i5 with integrated graphics only.
Ooh.
If you were trying to run Windows on this thing, it would cuss at you.
Well, yeah, and if you open like 3 web browsers on there, it's going to scream at you too.
Yeah. So I thought it was a perfect candidate for how I've been singing the praises of different forms of Ubuntu, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I gave this thing.
So you put Ubuntu regular on there, or did you do like Ubuntu Lite
No,
or?
I went even lighter weight. I like GTK very, very much for an easy to use experience, but
Right.
I thought GNOME was too heavy. We
Yeah.
did Ubuntu Budgie,
Got you.
and it feels very Mac OS like. And yeah, so I gave it some hardware upgrades, It got an SSD in place of the spinning platter drive.
Mm-hmm.
It got 8 gigs of RAM from the original 4 gigs of DDR3, mind you, that it shipped with.
Ooh, wow. So you upgraded the RAM to 8 gigs from 4 gigs, and you're still at
Yeah,
DDR3, but you can't
yes,
change that because you need a whole new
right. You need
motherboard.
right, of course. So I was able to get around the broken sound card by way of a class compliant external USB sound card
Right.
and, a little bit of hardware and a lightweight Linux distro has this computer back in service now.
That is
This
awesome.
this laptop actually came from our pastor's old church in Texas.
Really.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. So that is pretty cool. The only gripe I have is why didn't you put Arco Linux on it? But
Arco.
or Arch,
Well,
any kind of Arch, because I use Arch, by the way.
oh. So here's the thing. I picked Ubuntu because my partner is one of the people running the media desk in the back,
Sure,
and
probably knows nothing
uh,
of
the,
Linux.
the worship leader's wife runs the slide computer with the words on it.
Hmm.
They are definitely Mac people, not my partner, but his wife
Right.
and him. They are Mac people through and through.
Hmm.
Ubuntu Budgie, especially with a few tweaks, is very, very, very Mac-like, and I went to the point of installing a Mac OS inspired GTK theme and gave the dock Mac OS icons so it will feel familiar to her and help her uh,
Be able to
change
easier
computers.
navigate stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I
That
mean,
that
everybody knows it's not a Mac, but it's more like just helping her recognize what she's trying to do.
right. And that's the thing about Linux that I've always touted and I'm very proud of Linux is the multiple different themes and icons that you could actually
Oh yeah,
customize Linux to. You can make it look and feel just like Windows. I mean, it takes a little bit of work, it takes a little bit of know-how, but it's nothing that a simple Google search and maybe just hopping on a forum here or there to find out to figure out what it is that you need and where you need to
right. And
implement it at.
without doing it in a heavyweight way, like you can do some of that on Windows too, but you're using programs like Rainmeter. Do you remember Rainmeter?
I do remember Rainmeter, yes.
Or the other skinning programs that run on top of the
Right.
already heavy
I remember
Windows.
I remember back in the day when before Linux became really mainstream, there was an application that you could download on Windows that helped you customize the theme a little bit. I think it was like Windows 7 broke it, but it was like in Windows XP. I think it was called Blinds or something. I can't remember the name of it. Something like
Window blinds,
Blinds.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Window Blinds or something like that. Yeah, and it allowed you to really customize Windows. And I remember people going crazy over that. And then that's when Linux started getting better and better with the different uh, desktop environments. With GNOME and KDE. KDE started coming out with more and more customizations, and then it just took off. And
Oh yeah,
it is what
for
it
for
is
a
now.
while there were like for a while there were like 20 different window managers and DEs, and I remember distro hopping for different reasons back then, just so that I could test them without setting it up.
Hmm.
You remember Conky?
I do remember. Well, Conky's still around.
Yeah. I definitely used Conky for a long time
Hmm.
for the sole fact of trying to impress anybody that didn't know what I was doing.
Well, it's really funny that you bring that up because that's what a lot of people see Conky and they think, "Ooh, you're an uber nerd" when they see that on your desktop,
Right, and it's not
and it is
it's
so
not like
not.
that.
It's simply a system processor and info center.
Yeah.
To the point that actually, to me, I hate when distros come with it enabled.
Now see, I like it, but,
I think
um,
that I think that's one of those things that you should be able to enable yourself. You know,
most people don't have the command line knowledge to be able to configure something like Conky.
right, but I mean to turn it off, dude. I don't think I don't. I never liked the Conky. Like I know MX Linux comes with it. Some of the Arco Linuxes come with it. There's a couple spins out, or distros out there that do come with it already
Yeah.
installed out of the box and configured to run. And to me, no, I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. I've never been a Conky fan. I In
Yeah.
fact, I will take Matt's stance with Linux OS, that people can tout to the highest mountains how great Conky is and how informative it is and how they love it. And me, I does nothing for me. It's kind of like a useless distro to me. I just don't like Conky. I mean, if I want to see what my system processes are, what my RAM usage, and what my hard drive usage is, I'll just fire up the task manager or
Right.
system
No,
monitor.
it's window dressing. Is all it is.
Yeah. So
And that's
anyhow,
okay.
that's I'm glad to hear that Ubuntu saved the day, that you were able to customize it to look and feel the way that the people needed for them to navigate easily. In my situation, my boss just was able to actually send work to $1 million+ table out there, plasma table, that was doing it. So Linux is doing great things in the workplace. It's just it's
absolutely.
good to
That
hear.
you can take a 10-year-old machine and give it a new life. Where is it a top tier gaming rig? Is it going to play triple A titles? Absolutely not, and that's not what we're asking it to do.
No, I mean, well,
It's
it's
just giving it life.
yeah.
It's reducing e-waste. It's saving on budget. It's giving functionality.
Linux.
It saved the day.
Are you saying that Linux is the key to planned obsolescence? To getting rid of it?
Linux is a tool in the toolbox against planned obsolescence. I would say yes, currently.
Nice. That is awesome. That is awesome, especially when you could throw it. It comes in so many different varieties that you could throw it on many different lightweight situations.
Yeah,
Like from
you know,
Chrome, from like old, like Chromebooks and stuff like that. There's a guy that I know. He's a kid, like an 18, 19-year-old kid, and he's saving Chromebooks by throwing Linux on them. Believe it or not, Chrome is a Linux derivative. The
yeah,
Chrome
but it
OS,
makes
but anyhow, he's putting full-fledged actual Linux onto him. So
nice
yeah, giving him a little bit
because
more power, a little more beef.
I'm glad to hear it because I haven't met a stock Chromebook that I like. Maybe that's a hot take for some folks, but I don't like Chromebooks.
I've actually never played with one because to me they're usually little tiny things,
Well,
and
it's not even that. They're so underpowered because they're using, low end CPUs to keep them affordable. I deployed a few hundred Chromebooks as a part time gig.
mm-hmm,
A couple of years ago, I did it for a school district,
mm-hmm.
and we had Arduinos set up doing
Oh,
unattended installs.
yeah.
It was wild, but the hardware just sucked.
Wow. Yeah. So we're going to go
Yeah,
ahead and call it a wrap on that, and we're
there's a
going to move
little
into
bit.
the next topic. The next
Yeah.
topic is actually a distro spotlight. It is one that came out with it's got a new update out, or a new version out. It's 23.0, I believe, Honeycomb, and it's gonna be Regata OS. And
And
so
now
I'm
you
showing.
previously reviewed Regata on the channel,
I
correct?
did. Yes, I did. And I'm going to tell you right now, Regata OS is a OpenSUSE based operating system that is geared for the gamers at heart. What is amazing about Regata OS is that it comes completely set up out of the box with game launchers, with Proton already installed and ready to go. It has a software center that is, to me, probably one of the greatest software centers of any distribution out there. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
go
it's
ahead.
pretty polished looking, I gotta say.
Yeah, oh, it's extremely polished looking. I mean, and it's a Brazilian base, so it comes out of Brazil, and they've got quite a few good ones, and they've got one bad one that everybody knows about that come out of Brazil. But what I like,
Now,
huh?
you scrolled over something, and I want to call quick attention to it, and then
Which
I
one?
won't hijack you.
You want me to go back down?
Notebooks with hybrid graphics. That
Ah,
deserves a huge, huge shout out because if you have NVIDIA graphics, chances are it's hybrid. And some AMD setups have it too, but really that's the pain point
Yeah,
for
and
Linux
one of the
laptops.
things that I probably should mention in there, because some people may overlook it as well. To install your graphics driver for like NVIDIA, you simply type in the graphics card that you have in the store, in their actual software center store, and it should download the correct graphics driver that you need.
That's
If you
just that's awesome.
Yeah, you search by the actual graphics driver, not just the NVIDIA drivers, and then you have to figure it out. I think they have it categorized down to the actual graphics card, which is nice. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of work been done on this. I actually have this operating system on uh on a actual uh external hard drive. Well, not an external, but I mean it's an actual NVMe that I have, separate from my main drive, and I dual boot into that, and I actually game on it. When you see me do any of my gaming videos, which are only like 3 or 4, because I don't ever have time to game anymore. I was getting time, and all of a sudden now I'm starting to work tens. But all the gaming that I've done on the channel has been through Regata OS, and it is butter smooth. Like your game launchers, they connect to your accounts, and you can just immediately deploy them. And what's cool is when you go into your launcher, whichever one it is, it'll show you the games that you have, and you just click on it and it
That's
runs
really
it.
cool.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Lutris is available. GOG's on there. All of it's available, and of course you got Steam that's on there as well.
Right, right.
Yeah, and
Because where would Linux be in the gaming world without Steam?
pretty much exactly. And then also you have in that operating system the content creator side of things. They've got OBS already installed and set up for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
loving it,
but I
loving it.
think it's the basics. I think it's the basic OBS. I don't think any presets are set up for you, like different transitions or anything like that. They may have. It's just a standard OBS. So
I
so
mean,
that's because
so
I
cool.
have not used OBS on there. Although one of these days I think I'm going to boot into it, set up OBS, and do the live stream from it or something like that. That'd be kind of interesting.
Oh, maybe I'd love to do a gaming session on stream with you.
Okay. I mean, that might be something to do. No, that's not a bad idea. I mean,
Just like a subathon.
okay.
It's something we do over in Twitch. We'll do sub marathons, playing different games or doing different activities,
Hmm.
and it's cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I'm down for it. I mean, it would get me into doing some gaming that I have not been able to do for a minute. Uh,
Yeah, we got to get you a break.
that'd be nice. But yeah, I mean, Regata OS is a very to me, it's an amazing distro. I stumbled upon it because somebody actually recommended it to me. By the way, out there, guys, if you guys have any recommendations that you want Jesse or I to do, go ahead
Yeah,
and
please.
send us in either Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, join our Discord. The link is in the description down below. Um, Also, you could send it through here, or you could email me, whatever you want. I'm old school. I cover email. We also got a Facebook page. We have Instagram as well,
Look at you being accessible.
and we have Twitter. Yeah, this old guy's got it going on. Well, actually, it's not even Twitter anymore. It's X.
Right. You
So, and
know, that sets up a great joke. Do you remember all the commercials when we were kids that you had your like quality product and that anything that sucked was brand X?
yeah, I never thought of it that
And
way.
he
Uh,
has definitely taken Twitter into brand X territory.
yeah, you could say that. I mean, okay.
Do you still like it
Well,
after the X
it's
conversion?
funny that you was just going to ask me that, because I knew that was coming. I knew that question was coming, and I'm going to tell you like this. I prefer Discord.
Hmm.
Our Discord, between I'm in Zero Linux's Discord. I'm in also Zany's, and
Right.
Matt's, and also Brody's, Discord and all that kind of stuff. And I talked to all those guys, and Discord seems to be more popular, even though people are trying to move to Element, which I don't get Element. It's like Discord on Telegram or WhatsApp, but
Right.
it
I've tried WhatsApp. I don't like it. I've
yeah,
tried Telegram and Signal. I don't
yeah,
really care for them.
me neither. But it's like that. It is what Element is, and I don't know, man. I just, to me, coming up, in my early days, it was Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace. And Twitter was the latest and last great craze, because it started MySpace, then we went to Facebook, and then Twitter, and it was Twitter and Facebook forever. And so, as far as Twitter or X, whatever it is that you want to call it now, I don't take issues with it because it's still it's still the same in the sense of the purpose of it. You type X amount on there, you put videos on there that you can put on there, that kind of stuff. But as far as like the back end stuff, I never knew it before and really dealt with it to the point that it hasn't changed anything for me. So in a way, to me,
Gotcha.
it's still the same. If that makes sense. Just
No,
it's
I
an
get it.
X now. It's an X now versus the little Tweety Bird thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's from generation whatever the hell I am,
Well, I mean, it's still better
Gen
than
X or
frosted
whatever,
on with toots.
huh?
It's still better than frosted on using toot.
Yeah, I heard that. When I heard that for the first time, I was like, wow, people are just farting around. So
Okay.
so
Rebranding. Welcome to the Two Dads podcast.
yeah, pretty much. So, but yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know. Like I said, for me, yeah, I still use it to this day, and I watch stuff. In fact, I watched. I'm not trying to get into any kind of debates of politicalists or nothing like that, but
Right, right.
Tucker Carlson got removed from TV for whatever reason. People saw fit to remove him, and so now that's what he uses as his platform. And he had in one of the candidates for the presidential debate on there, and they it streamed in the first hour, it had 75 million views. So
Right. I mean, talk about viewership.
yeah, so I mean, interestingly enough, I guess a lot of people say they hate Twitter, but yet they're still watching it.
Yeah, well, be that as it may.
Well, like I was saying, a lot of noise died down on it. That's one thing that has changed.
Yep,
A lot of noise died down on it, and
that's
what's
true.
interesting is I follow a lot of on there, like Dark Zero's on there, which is also Zero Linux. We all know that. So he's on
Oh yeah.
there. There's a lot of a lot of Linux people on there, right? From Serpent OS, which is the Solus guys rebranded. It seems like now, to
Right.
you know Matt's on there, well, he was on there. He's no longer really
I
active
used
on
to
there.
be on there once upon a time.
But they're actually now I seem to be getting all their content coming at me the way it should be, because that's what I wanted. So in a way, it's gotten better because a lot of the noise has stopped. It's Twitter, not X. That's right, Josh. Josh is in the
Josh,
house,
Josh.
and Serpent OS is not Solus, guys. You're well. It was
Uh-oh.
okay. For clarification,
We got to make a correction here.
yeah, for clarification, of course, leave it to Josh to point me out on my misspeak. It isn't Surface OS, guys. The guy who created Solus is now creating Serpent OS, and Solus people are using some of his stuff still, or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what the interchange is whether um, Ike and Josh were Solus, and Serpent OS is a separate project that Solus is rebasing to. So basically, Solus is not being Solus anymore. I guess it's going to become Serpent OS. That's what they're using for their base. But
Hmm.
either way, they're
So yeah,
connected.
I guess that'll be a future distro spotlight, OS spotlight we need to do. We can do Solus, we can do Serpent.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's been
what's the TLDR on Regata?
the TLDR on Regata. On Regata. Okay. Basically, game on it, enjoy yourself on it, it's basically set up if you're a content creator or a gamer for you to be able to go and stream and have all the tools that you will most likely need outside of your preferential ones already set up for you out the box.
Nice.
And it's OpenSUSE based.
You really don't hear about
which is very rare
OpenSUSE anymore.
Yep. Josh says Solus will still be Solus, but it'll be more similar to Debian and Ubuntu. Okay, and Josh does know this because he works with those guys. He's in contact with those guys. I think he's one of the few dev teams that haven't banned him because of his hacking, distro hacking.
Good grief.
So let's move on to the next topic. You ready for this one?
Oh, let's jump in.
This is the one that could be a little bit on the slippery end of things. It's an update. Yep. BS I hear about OpenSUSE all the damn time. Well, you could come on our podcast sometime and you won't hear about it so much. But the other podcast you do, Josh, is always about OpenSUSE.
Now, I want to say, since we're pointing out little missteps here, I am never going to forget seeing OpenSUSE just spelled as OpenSUS and making all the Among Us jokes. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So, the next topic.
All right.
It is a status update to last week's topic that we spoke about, which is the stuff going on with Linus Tech Tips. That's correct. And I'm very happy to bring this one because it's actually a good update, a positive update.
Please.
And for me, let's see. He put out a new video, and WAN Show was live last night. I watched part of the WAN Show before I went to bed, and I watched the entire video that he put out. And it is Here's the Plan, as it's titled. I've got it pulled up so people can see. Can see it, and I'll show you. It is on the Linus Tech Tips actual YouTube page. And what I like about it is that it was absolutely informative and very transparent, which is something that they promised that they were going to do and what their plan moving forward is. One of the things that was being brought up was about the repetitiveness, or not repetitive, but the fast-paced breakneck speed of which they were producing videos, and the content was not being thoroughly vetted before release with graphics and charts and that kind of stuff being put up. Well, he addressed that in their
They were doing something like 25 videos a week, right?
Yeah. And that's they were crazy. They did a retrospective week is what they called it as, where they went internally, according to the video and the information put forth. They went internally, sat down with department heads and their actual members and went over all of the different things that they were having issues with and addressed it with each person individually. Taryn Tong, the CEO, sat down with Linus and called him on the carpet on some of his crap. In fact, that's what he opens the video with is, hey, it's been a long time since my boss pulled me into the office and said, what the are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so...
Because Linus is not the boss anymore.
Right, exactly. He now has to answer to somebody else. And so that was addressed. Yvonne and him also a key point, because we all know how the labs team was putting out things that were questionable because they need to put out the videos. Well, one of the major implementations of which they decided to put in was that they were going to take and have a committee. I don't know if it's a committee. I can't remember. The ECC, the error correction committee that they put in place. It's going to actually have early access to these videos. They're going to watch the videos, and the committee's comprised of people who are considered top-notch professionals in their retrospective environments of
Mhm.
computing of the tech world, like power supply top notch guy, motherboard top notch
Right.
guy, processor top guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're all, he said, I think there are 5 or 10, I think, I can't remember the number, that are already in place, and they may be looking for more down the road, but just keep posted if you want to be part of that team.
Mhm.
You could be potentially on there, but you're obviously for monitoring these lab videos and making sure that the content is going out. They've also went back and demonetized and removed other egregious ones that were out there.
I think that was a good move, maybe a little bit late, but still a good move nonetheless.
You know what? Here's the thing, man. It's kind of like in the addicted world. You cannot make yourself better if you don't first admit that you have a problem.
Right.
And that's the mindset that the lens that I'm looking through to see what they're trying to do there in fixing this stuff.
Mhm.
So they've taken a lot of positive steps, and a lot of checks and balances are being put into place to make sure the
Yeah.
content is better. And another part of the thing, besides the ECC team, they're actually putting into place where they've gone back and they're actually correcting the old videos, whether it be through thumbnails or whatever
Mhm.
they're doing, editing into the videos to make the corrections that need be made.
Right.
So they're
Uh,
literally going through their, which has got to be a monumental task to go
oh, yeah,
through.
just years of
Yes,
content.
to go through their content just to do that. So that shows some dedication on their part. Now, as far as the other stuff that came out after,
The asset tracking I'm excited about.
yes, that is they're doing as well. The asset tracking, they're doing that in a much better content and fashion as well. And then
Mhm.
the HR part that came out regarding Madison's stuff. He while he didn't directly address it, he
No.
did he didn't directly address it, and we could only speculate as to why he didn't address it. But
Sure.
outside of it being a very sensitive nature, maybe there's still investigation going on. Maybe
Right.
he's
I don't
trying
think
to,
we're done hearing I don't think we're done hearing her story.
right, and maybe he's actually still trying to make amends some way or something like that, and not
Right.
create more issues in any way, shape, or form. Whatever the case is, he did address a portion of it, and I feel that it's fair to talk about that, because
No, please do. Yeah.
what they did is they reminded their team that prior to any of this, and I don't know if maybe it wasn't just a well addressed uh knowledge in the company, whether or not they had made the information clear enough to their employees that there actually the whole time actually had been an outsourced HR department.
Right.
And
Now,
then later
I've worked
on, like a few years ago, they actually brought it in house. They hired
right, I
somebody in
think that was
house.
a huge move. The last company that I worked for,
Hmm.
um, outsourced primary HR functions, and the most that I can say with respect to that is, as an employee of a company that outsources HR,
Hmm.
there are a lot of times in my experience where you can feel like you don't have HR,
Hmm. Well, a lot of it's really
which is
funny,
maybe why they're doing the reminders, because sometimes it feels like they simply don't have it.
right? And it's something that a lot of companies, tend to. Well, I mean, HR is never a good thing. Whenever HR is being involved, it's always not for a good thing, and so it's something that people like to cringe at. And like, it's funny because Josh just posted in the actual chat. He says, honestly, I'm happy they're going to open source the benchmark tool that they developed, which means it can be auditable by peer review, which is absolutely true. That's great that they're doing that.
100%. You
And as
can
far as the
fact check
HR
the
thing is
crap out of that.
concerned, he's right in the fact that he's fine not hearing about it. Honestly, it's not something we really need to know, and I agree. I do agree, but it's something that was brought into the foreflight because a lot of people came out and did stuff.
Right.
And
things are still being said, and we don't need to know the fine details.
right,
But I think the community
just
deserves to know
that it's in place and that they're trying to
how the
make it
company
better.
conducts itself.
Correct, and that's all I want to bring light to is that it is in place. It has been in place, just may not have been broadcasted appropriately or in a way that was understood better, and
Right.
that moving forward, they're actually remaining their open door policy as far as they can come to them, him and Yvonne and Taranton, as well as the HR department. That's good, and so that's where I want to leave that at. Really
Yep,
that they've made strides across the board, which is a fantastic thing.
Hopefully we'll see continued progress on that.
Right, which is a very fantastic thing, and I'm great to see that because I tell you what, I'll be the first one to admit, I like Linus Tech Tips channel a lot. A lot of his content was good. Not all of it was bad. Some of the things that, from being a guy who used to build computers and be an actual tech and doing hardware stuff that I seen, I was like, But in the end, it was entertainment as well. I don't view these channels as 100% godlike. You know what I mean? Everybody behind a camera, you, me, we're all fallible. We make mistakes. And, I just like that they addressed it. They're carrying forward in a very professional manner with it. And the content
certainly a better video than the first one with the shrugging and the.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
just leaps and bounds better.
That was probably a knee-jerk reaction, trying to stem, do some damage control, trying to stem, whatever he needed to. But either way, I'm very glad. I'm very glad that they're taking the direction they're taking. And like I said in the last podcast, I only hope it makes them better.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for growth.
A thing to mention as well that he did mention in the video that, and you could tell that he was starting to get emotional about it, is how some of his team got bullied by people online. Because they're still there.
The internet loves to take a story.
Yeah. And I feel saddened by that because we shouldn't be doing that as people. As people in our community, I hope none of our community ever did that to them because we shouldn't be doing that. That's just not the way we behave,
Vigilante justice really isn't great for anybody.
No. And, it's just not good. And so just if you did that, shame on you. I'll go out there and say it. Jesse has no claim in any of that. Those are my words, 100%. I don't, you shouldn't do that ever. Bullying is not cool. Exactly. It's not cool. No matter whether you do it in face-to-face or through a keyboard, it just isn't cool,
Right.
So, but either way, that's the story. That's what's going on with that. And I'm very happy to hear that it's, coming to a resolution. We're going to start seeing great content. And this segment was sponsored by LTTstore.com.
Are you serious?
Hey, I just threw it in there.
Way to get us pulled in there, big bro. Man. Let's talk about some tools.
All right. So go ahead. What tool you got for us?
All right. So if you guys are new to me as a content creator on the channel, you may not know oh boy. That's CPIN says people often forget that the internet is full of actual children.
This is true.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys are new to me and what I do in my spare time and for fun, I like to play guitar. I'm not good at it, but I have a lot of fun doing it. And a few years ago, I moved away from traditional amps and effects pedals and stuff like that, and started looking for different software-based solutions so that I can have consistency in what I sound like, and honestly, just not carrying around hundreds of pounds of gear because I'm not 20 anymore. Modeling, which is just software-based effects processing, has come a long way. If you guys do play guitar, when Line 6 showed up 20 some odd years ago with the Spider amps and things like that, Digital effects did not sound good back then.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've just come such a long way. And we've gotten to the point now where, a couple years ago we had tools like Guitarix hit
Mm-hmm.
the Linux world, and it wasn't great compared to commercial offerings.
What's
You
up,
had your
Stormwolf?
Amplitude, things like that. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, it's
How you
Hammerheart.
doing?
Got you. That's my he's my admin in he's my admin in my Discord server. That's old
Nice,
Danny.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are going to talk today about a tool that I use. It's a cross-platform guitar effects and music production suite called Tonelib, I guess, for Tone Library.
Yep. There you
Alex, you
go.
can bring that up
I
for
just
everybody.
I just did.
Thank you. So it is a proprietary piece of software, and I just want to address the elephant in the room there. It's in addition to being proprietary, it is also paid software, but
Mm-hmm.
there is a 30-day free trial
Correct, which is right here.
with no restrictions whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And it would unofficially be called like nagware, I guess you would call it,
Oh,
because
got you.
when the registration period is over, they will ask you to pay for it, but
Right.
they don't disable it.
Ah, so you just have to
You-
deal with the little watermark or something down in the bottom.
Right, the little guilt trip.
Right.
So
It
Tonelab
says
GFX is what I primarily use.
it says more than just
And
an amp sim or simulator.
right,
With TLGFX, a complete guitar studio can now easily fit into one app. The sound of modeled guitar effects, so it already comes with a bunch of presets, right?
and it's MIDI capable as well, so you can use floor-based controllers to switch your sound effects,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. I have actually used it for performances, and it's pretty good. The delays and stuff in switching your sounds really
Right.
comes down to how powerful your computer
And
is.
looking at the page too, like if you want to add any, like presets to it. There's already blah, blah, community generated presets that you could download and add, like some Zach
Yeah,
Wild Ozzy ones, and then I know Slipknot ones. So you can get that Slipknot guitar effect going on that they, what they have there
right.
set
And,
to.
and some of them are better than others. Some of them are great. Some of them are not what I'll use.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, different
Um,
type of amps that you could actually emulate.
yep. There is a light
Marshalloids.
version.
So the Marshalloids is probably like emulating a Marshall amp, right?
Right, right. Hmm.
Yeah, nice. And then they've got the Fender amps. That is crazy cool. I'm looking in
Yeah,
high
it's
gain monsters as well. Wow. And then of course they've
really
got the pedal
cool
support.
for,
Yeah, they got
it's a
prefix
good
for pedal
practice
supports.
tool. You can put it through your headphones and not annoy your housemates or your spouse or your kids or your dog.
Right.
Um, and this also works in tandem with, say, a digital audio workstation like Reaper or
Yeah,
other tools
DAW.
like
Yeah,
that.
but it says no DAW required, but it will work with it. I just got to that part where
Correct.
it's VST and standalone formats is what it
Yeah.
uses. Just
This
pretty
is, this is
awesome.
not a sponsored episode, guys. It's just something
Oh,
that I'm really excited about.
sponsor. What are you talking about, sponsor? This is the Linux tube. We don't got any sponsors.
Right. So all that to say, I think it's cool. And before we get too much, flack on, oh, it's proprietary and oh, it's not open
Josh
source.
says, ju- just so you say, Josh says, so it's WinRAR and good old fashioned shovelware.
But the fact that anybody is making, alternatives to, or not even an alternative to, this is commercial audio software with native Linux packaging.
Support, yeah.
You can download a 64-bit deb package. You can also find it on the AUR, so Arch users, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe if you can't get it as an RPM, you could always use Alien and roll your own.
Right.
So the fact that Linux even matters enough to the folks behind this project to release native packages, we're not getting, feature reduced, Electron apps or a Snap. It was developed as a native package, and I'm impressed.
Yeah, what is his name? There's a Linux YouTuber that is actually he does a lot with Ardour.
Are you thinking of Unfa?
Oomfa, yes, that's it. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah,
Oomfa.
he's fantastic. I
Oh,
love his content.
yeah. Josh says don't use Alien. Just unzip the deb and set it up correctly, since Alien won't handle the SE Linux flag right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Oomfa.
Unfa, he's a music producer
Yeah.
and content creator,
Yes,
specifically working with
with
Linux.
Linux. Yeah, he does a lot for the Linux space. And when I was so I don't know if most people know about this, but I actually am pretty big in the Seattle music scene. I actually work with different bands. I manage a couple. I actually, if you go to Facebook and look up Rage Lighting and Effects, you'll see the microphone stands that we created that are light up, that we use Arduino to create custom effects like flame effects
I
and
love it.
in digital microphones, that kind of stuff. I do a lot in the music scene. Also, I play drums, and I sing. Actually, that's my main instrument, is my box. I sing, but I also like have an electric drum kit that you can sometimes see in the background. And I used Ardour for a while to connect it to my box when I was doing some
Mhm.
laying down tracks and stuff like that. And I liked it. I liked it very well. But I thought about wanting to pick up the guitar and start to learn the guitar. And then I was thinking, well, what could I use? And so I'm kind of glad that you brought this to light, because I wasn't sure how I could connect it
Mhm.
to my computer. But with Tonelib FX, it should pick up my input for my PreSonus box. And I could
Yes.
XLR right into that and use that.
Yeah. Super, super cool. And
Yeah, that's a cool
I
tool.
actually have some Windows-based programs that are like this that I've paid a lot more money for,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the sound of ToneLib more than Bias, which I've used for a while, and that's now $300 for a license for the program I have. I
Wow.
bought it when it was
And
150. It's up to 300,
and looking
and
and
I
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but and looking at let's go back to the web page here, and looking at Tonelib FX. I mean, the price that they have here to buy it is $35.97.
right.
In
That's
the music,
cheaper than
I was
one guitar pedal.
I was gonna say, in the music world, you, as I both know, is the minute that you use anything for any type of instrument, it automatically jumps the price tag up there. In the music
Hmm.
world, I mean, like my PreSonus software for their you know music and editing tools all start at like 200 plus.
Yeah.
So
Good stereo
35.97 to
anything.
me is not a bad asking price for this at all.
Right, I mean, you could segue again into Linux saves the day and makes music production more affordable.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. You could. I mean, I know that some strings out there for a bass guitar cost more than that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
absolutely.
in a way, a cymbal on a regular drum kit will cost you 10
Oh, yeah.
times that. You know
With
what I'm saying?
a good set of drum heads, drumsticks.
Yes. So, in a way, I don't think that that's a very steep asking price at all
No,
for even purchasing it.
and the rest of the tools on their page do have Linux versions as well. But let's talk about your tool before we go off too much.
My tool, my tool. Well, it was sent to me by the one and only Steve from Zero Linux. Bing Adobe asking a sub plus your plugins. Oh wow, asking for the
Yup.
subs. Wow, wow. And music software. Josh says music software is expensive. Thankfully, it's usually one time purchases for the LMX stuff. So yeah, but anyhow, The tool that I'm going to talk about is one that was sent to me. Now, I have not completely taken a look at it. I've only went to the GitHub to look at it, and it is actually a pretty cool thing. It was sent to me by Steve from Zero Linux, and it's Oh, wait, wrong one. NW. Where did it go? Oh, it's right.
Streaming the card, guys. 1 second.
Yeah, never mind. It is NWG-Shell. And what it is it is a desktop environment for Hyperland or Sway. It is GTK3 based, and I know that Josh was going to, on his distro hacking last night, was going to use it. Did you ever get it up and running? Did you get to that? Because he's going to do it on, I think, Gen 2. And so basically it's a set of tools that actually implement a full-on desktop environment, from a settings manager to launcher to plank and dock, to system trays, to actual window, like a workspaces environment. So it basically takes a window manager for Hyperland or Sway and converts it into an actual semi desktop environment. And it is got the launcher is like GNOME centric too. It's got a look and feel of GNOME, which is pretty slick. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I might give it a try because Wayland is still Wayland, and I wouldn't mind something that didn't feel quite as janky. GNOME on Wayland, at least with my setup, I'm not impressed, and I blame NVIDIA for most of that. But I've
Gotcha.
heard that Hyperland is one of the better compositors for Wayland.
Josh said he never got it done, and he says, but it can be done next week, though. It seems people really want to see NetBSD. Who knows? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. By the way, Tonelib J, you can go to at Tonelib J .stock or something like that. Josh, or put your link in the actual chat, and you can find out how to get a hold of him. Watch his distro hacking. His distro hacking is actually pretty thorough and amazing. They're very long. I will tell you that now. They're very long. They're literally long enough that you could go away, come back, go away, come back, go away, come back, and still be watching it.
Marathon streamer.
Yeah, they're marathon streams, but they're uber informative. But anyhow, back to the Hyperland versus Sway. Hyperland, Vaxtree has done a great job with developing Hyperland, and it's Tonelib J. He typed in there, it's Tonelib J asterisk. But anyhow, Hyperland is based off of the Wayland compositor, and it is semblant. It's a window manager, just like Sway is. All of them are. It is very semblant to. I guess it's not similar to anything on its own. It has its own configuration file, kind of like i3, but it's not a direct plug and play to i3. It has different way of configuring it, but Sway is a direct plug and play for i3. If you're familiar with i3, then you want Sway. And then you could download Hyperland and then, add it as a second one you can log into and start playing with it and playing with this configuration file.
Yeah, I remember Steve and I had Voxery on 0 Bytes last season. And he's a cool guy. He's funny. He's sharp as a tack. Like, it's going places.
Yeah. So, but NWG-Shell actually, and I will edit the description down below and I'll put the links to everything in there today after the podcast. It is actually very slick looking. It's very clean. It's very neat. And they've worked really well to encompass everything to give it pretty much. So it's basically the closest thing you're going to come to a desktop environment on Wayland right now, outside of like KDE and GNOME, but it's a window manager kind of. It's a hybrid to me, is the way I like looking at it. It looks and feels like a hybrid window manager complete that has a desktop environment feel. So that just comes already downloaded right out of the box. You just go to the GitHub. It's got the installation instructions on how to do it for Fedora, for Arch, and building it yourself on there. So
Nice.
and
Cool,
that
cool.
and that is my tool of the day.
Love
But
it.
it's not really a tool. It's more of a environment. Yeah, and it uses WLR render in for drawing stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. It is. It looks pretty. I mean, like I said, visit the link down below and draw your own conclusion, test drive it, come back, leave a comment, let us know. You know what it is. CPIN says that NetBSD would be a nice stream. Just addressing the chat, NetBSD, and BSD don't get a lot of attention anymore, and they're pretty solid, pretty solid, Linux distros. There's a couple people, Izzy in my Discord. He uses it a lot and does a lot with it. And I think old Hammerheart does too, or has played with it a little bit as well. So, but
Yeah, that's not a skill set I have, not BSD.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
there it is. There it is.
What? There's what?
Josh coming in. He's not wrong. It's not Linux. It's BSD.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My bad. They don't belong on the channel. It's a Linux channel.
Oh, don't worry. Welcome. The Linux community isn't divisive.
Not at all. Not at all. So, is there anything else you wanted to add, Jesse?
No. I think this is a great place to just call it. Let's giggle a little bit.
Yeah, we've gone over the hour. We blew that out the water. But either way, this was actually I thought it was great.
No, it's another great episode. I'm so happy to be a part of the team. This is
I love what Josh said.
Great project.
Josh said, but they are distribution, so they fall in me corner. Love it. Yeah, I think this is I love this podcast. I love our vibe. We're vibing real well. I think that the people watching, I've gotten several comments and from people that watched it further down the road, that whatever, they're all commented that they think that it's a much better podcast now that I have you on it than when I had Sean the GamerTube on it, which is okay.
Oh.
But
I'm not trying to make any waves. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, but no, it's not waves at all. I mean, it's more, we stay more on topic, more on point, we get things done. And so I personally feel that it's added a lot to the channel. And so I'm grateful. I hope the viewers are grateful. And basically, there isn't much more to really say today other than y'all keep doing what you do. Keep on Linuxing, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.